Deep in the heart of the ancient forest, there was silence. No birdsong. No footsteps. Even the wind held its breath among the twisted branches. This was the land of the three kings. The Wolf King, the Python Queen, and Lord Raven, three rulers who demanded obedience from every creature that breathed beneath the leaves. And yet, one young lion did not bow. His name was Ashan. He was not born to royalty. He had no army. But his eyes saw what others refused to look at. Why are we not allowed to speak when the sun is high? Why must we never drink from the northern spring? Why is every laugh punished with labor? His mother would hush him, trembling. Quiet, Ashan. They hear even through the trees. But Ashan could not be quiet. One night, he saw an old rabbit dragged away, guilty of singing a song from the time before the kings. They locked the rabbit in a root prison beneath a dead tree. Ashan waited. When the forest slept, he brought the rabbit water and leaves. And he whispered through the cracks in the earth, "This is wrong. I will change it. I promise." Above them, the sky was darker than any he had seen. And inside Ashan's chest, something had begun to glow. Not a roar. Not yet. But something just as dangerous. Ashan began to notice things. Tracks that led nowhere. Trees whose bark had been peeled in careful symbols. Holes in the ground that pulsed with warm breath, tunnels used by the resistance. Yes, there was a resistance. Small. Hidden. Scattered like seeds in shadow. But real. A squirrel with one ear missing gave Ashan a scrap of fruit and said nothing. A deer paused long enough to drop a feather in his path, one black, one red. And deep in the dust near the hollow tree, someone had scratched a word with their claw. Enough. Ashan's heart beat faster. He didn't know who they were. He didn't know where they met. But the signs were everywhere, if you chose to see them. That night, he returned to the root prison. The rabbit was gone. In its place, a stone sat gently, still warm. On it was carved a paw print. Not a lion's. A message. Ashan looked toward the hills in the distance. There, smoke rose, not from fire, but from signal. He stepped forward. The trees didn't whisper this time. They watched. And Ashan did not lower his gaze. Ashan followed the smoke. He moved silently through undergrowth and crumbling paths, paws padding over fallen leaves. With every step, the forest felt more awake. Eyes blinked open behind ferns. Leaves rustled not from wind, but breath. Then he saw them. Not one. Not two. But dozens. Creatures of all sizes, all kinds, hidden behind roots, tucked in hollow trees, crouched in vines. Mice, foxes, badgers, owls, lizards, even a bear missing an ear. None wore crowns. None bowed. They watched Ashan. He didn't speak. He simply placed the glowing stone on the ground and waited. A voice, soft and sharp, broke the silence. "Why are you here, cub?" Ashan looked up to see a porcupine, old, blind in one eye, perched on a rock. "Because I've seen what they do. And I can't be silent anymore." The animals murmured. A few stepped closer. "And what makes you different?" asked the porcupine. Ashan hesitated. Then he opened his mouth, not to roar, but to tell the truth. About the rabbit. About the prison. About the marks in the dust and the feather on the path. He spoke until the forest went still again. And then, the porcupine smiled. "Then welcome, little lion. You found the voice beneath the leaves." Ashan didn't realize he was trembling. Not from fear. But from something growing stronger inside him. Hope. The resistance had no throne, no banners, but it had fire. That night, they built a small, low flame in the middle of the clearing. Not to warm, but to reveal. Ashan sat beside the porcupine and a one-eyed owl who watched the flames without blinking. "This is where they come from," said the owl, as the fire shimmered. Shapes rose from the smoke. A twisting map, marked with stars, rivers, hidden caves, old bridges. But also, the palaces of the three kings. The cages. The tunnels beneath the hills. Paths of the hunted. Ashan leaned closer. In the flicker of heat, he saw what no one else dared speak aloud, the truth of their forest. "Why show me this?" he asked. "Because we don't need a king," said the porcupine, "we need a roar." Ashan didn't understand, yet. But as the flame crackled, the shapes began to shift again. And this time, the fire formed his face. Not a cub. Not a king. A lion standing tall in front of a storm. "Is this a vision?" Ashan whispered. "No," said the owl, "it's a warning." And somewhere beyond the trees, the wind began to howl. The map was clear. But the road was broken. Ashan walked alone ahead of the group, through deep canyons and narrow forest ravines. The resistance followed in silence, a scattered line of foxes, owls, badgers, and even mice. They came to a ravine filled with fallen rocks. A long time ago, it had been a path. Now, it was a grave. Ashan stepped forward. A soft hum echoed beneath his paw. "Stop," said the owl, landing beside him, "listen." The ground vibrated, barely. Then a sound, a deep, slow rhythm. Not wind. Not earth. A song. A voice beneath the stones. "It's them," whispered the porcupine behind them, "those we thought lost." Ashan knelt. He placed the glowing pebble on the ground. The stone pulsed. Then, crack. A sliver of golden light burst from beneath the rocks. Ashan didn't run. He roared. And the song roared back. The sun had not risen yet. But Ashan walked with fire in his chest. The glowing crack had opened the path, and from beneath the stones, animals once thought vanished had emerged, silent, scarred, and watching. They said no words, only nodded. The map's path pointed north. Toward the domain of the first king. King Buru. The hornless rhino. His fortress wasn't walls, it was fear. A ring of skulls, a valley of silence, and a throne made of tusks. Ashan stepped onto the valley alone. From the shadows came King Buru, muscles rippling, eyes like cold stone. "Another prince playing hero?" he growled. Ashan didn't flinch. "Not a prince," he said. "Not yours." The king charged. But Ashan didn't run. He sidestepped, letting the dust speak. Around him, the resistance emerged, tiny paws, swift wings, sharp claws. The battle wasn't loud. It was precise. Buru's throne cracked. The skulls fell. And when the dust cleared, Ashan stood alone at the center, breathing heavy, eyes burning. And Buru was gone. The wind carried whispers. Not of kings. But of something older. Ashan stood in the clearing where King Buru had fallen. Dust still hung in the air, glowing in the light of dawn. Around him, silence bloomed, not fear, but stillness, like the forest was holding its breath. Then, soft footsteps. Then more. From the edges of the woods, animals emerged. One by one. Dozens. Then hundreds. Squirrels climbed down slowly. Owls glided in silence. Deer stepped forward without trembling. No one spoke. Ashan didn't roar. He simply stood, heart thudding, mane glowing in the morning light. He met their eyes, not as a ruler, but as someone who had once been caged too. The old porcupine stepped beside him, his cloudy eye turned toward the horizon. "One throne has cracked," he murmured. "But the eagle and the serpent have heard." Ashan looked west. There, beyond the trees, rose a black mountain smothered in mist. And beneath it, something older than any throne was beginning to stir. He took a step forward. So did the others. Not because they were told, but because something inside them had started to remember. They were not meant to serve. They were meant to rise. The mountain was not marked on any map. Its mist was made not of water, but silence. Ashan climbed it with quiet steps. No drumbeat. No anthem. Only the soft padding of paws behind him, and the rustle of wings above. At the summit, they found them. The second king, a great eagle with iron talons perched on a skeletal tree. The third king, a serpent thick as a river, curled around the stones, eyes closed in false calm. "You've unseated Buru," hissed the serpent. "You believe you are king now?" Ashan shook his head. "I don't want your throne," he said. "I came to end it." The eagle screeched, sky darkening. The snake rose, coils tense. But Ashan stepped forward, not with fangs, but with voice. And he roared. Not the roar of power. Not the roar of fear. But a roar no king had ever taught. A sound made of every cry silenced, every name erased, every hope buried. The mountain shook. Winds turned. Stones split. The serpent vanished into dust. The eagle tried to fly, but the sky no longer listened. And when silence returned, it was different. Not empty, but open. Ashan stood there, surrounded by the others. They didn't cheer. They breathed. The forest would not have kings anymore. Only guardians. Only memory. Ashan looked to the sky. No thrones left. No cages. Only stars.